Hey guys, this week we are going to go ahead and add verses 13 to 15 to your text. So I want to go ahead and kind of show you how verses 12 to 13 connect musically. So on that note, I want to encourage you guys to really practice this week using the music. There's a lot of words in verses 13 through 15. And so I feel like the best way to really learn those is to incorporate the tune. Even if you choose not to use it on Friday or whenever you turn in your video, that's okay. Just I would encourage you to use it at least for studying purposes, because I feel like that's what's really going to lock it in long term. So let me go ahead and sing. I'm going to start with verse 12 and sing that for you and show you how it connects into verse 13. Okay, so let's start with verse 12. Keep your behavior excellent among the Gentiles, so that in the thing in which they slander you as evildoers, they may, because of your good deeds, as they observe them, glorify God in the day of visitation. Okay, and your last note there is here. You hear that? Okay, so when we go to verse 13, it's going to start with that note, and it goes, submit yourselves for the Lord's sake to every human institution, whether to a king as the one in authority, or to governors as sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and the praise of those who do right. For such is the will of God, that by doing right you may silence the ignorance of foolish men. Okay, so to talk through this for a second, verse 13 and 14, they kind of have a similar melody, a similar pattern. But musically speaking, verse 13 is a little bit higher. Verse 14 is going to be a little bit lower, same kind of pattern, but a lower version of it. And then verse 15 is kind of a little bit by its own. It's or on its own. It's different, and it's totally different actually. So if you'll think of it that way, and again, if you'll remember each verse by its first word or first phrase. So verse 13 would be submit. Verse 14 would be or to governors, and verse 15 would be for such. So if you'll just remember the order so that you don't leave anything out, that's helpful. Also, as you're practicing with the video, as you're practicing singing this, if you'll have your sheet in front of you, it's really important for you to look at it as you're singing too, so that your eyes are visualizing it and then your ears are also hearing it. So let me sing that for you one more time, starting with verse 13, and let's make sure that we've got that. Okay, so it goes, submit yourselves for the Lord's sake to every human institution, whether to a king as the one in authority, or to governors as sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and the praise of those who do right. For such is the will of God, that by doing right you may silence the ignorance of foolish men. Okay, and so the meaning of these verses this week, some of it's kind of self-explanatory, but what it's saying is to submit or to obey, especially for us younger kids, to obey, to actually listen to your leaders. Okay, this is all about listening to authority, and it says to every human institution. So that goes from the top, like God, of course, is our authority. Then we have our president, and we have our governors and our leaders. And this is a great example, actually, right now, this season that we're in, where we're told a lot of things and a lot of just some guidelines that we're given in ways that we can live responsibly, and we have a choice of whether we can ignore that or we can listen to it. And so according to scripture here, it's saying we need to submit to those authorities, or we need to listen to our leaders. So it says, submit yourselves for the Lord's sake to every human institution. That means obey God, obey your government leaders, obey your parents. That's another institution that's been placed over you guys. So we're to obey our parents, and anyone else, and your teachers even. I would be an authority, believe it or not. So you have many authorities in your life that God has given you, and he wants you to listen to them and to obey them. And I love verse 15, how it kind of wraps it up, and it says, for such is the will of God, that by doing right, when you do these things, when you obey and you do the right thing, you silence the ignorance of foolish men. So the people that are out there disobeying and not listening to their leaders and to instruction, it kind of makes them almost like cover their mouth and like they have nothing to say, because of when they see other people's good behavior, when they see the people that are obeying God and are obeying their leaders, it's like shocking to them. And so that's what God calls us to do, is he tells us to obey our leaders, to obey God, number one, to obey your president, your governors, your parents, especially because they're an authority in your life every single day. And you see them probably more than anybody, or your grandparents, or whoever that might be. It might be an uncle or an aunt, whoever it is that you stay with, that is your God-given authority. And so we're to obey them and listen to them and respect them. So, and when you do these things, you're pleasing God. That makes God really happy when you obey. So that's kind of what we're thinking about this week. And I hope you guys will check in with the Facebook Live little sessions each night. They'll be anywhere between 6 and 8 o'clock p.m. You can always go back and watch them the next day if you like. They'll be on our wall or in our photos somewhere in there. So I encourage you, if you haven't already joined that group, to go ahead and to sign up. It's called Mrs. Stephanie's Bible Memorization Group for K through 5 CTCA. It's kind of a long name, but that's where we all meet kind of every night. So hope to see you guys there, and I hope you have a wonderful week, and good luck memorizing.